What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase from Rain TV, Fanatics View, national host, all that good stuff. And this is my boxing show presented by Fanatics View, the sweet science. And it's a good day because it's January 4th, 2022, and I got a future champ with me right now, the beast himself, Michigan's own Aleem. How you doing, brother? How's everything going today?
Yo, what's up, man? Everything's going pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, so I got some good questions for you today. First and foremost, Happy New Year's, champ. How did you spend your holidays?
I spent it with my daughter. She lives in Arizona. I'm in Vegas. So I had her for Christmas break, for New Year's and stuff. So that worked out good.
All right, man. We love to hear that, and love the fact that you got to spend time with your daughter and everything like that through the holiday break. And I know that was exceptional, a lot of fun, because Vegas is a fun place at that time of the year. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to the business of boxing. How many fights do you want in 2022?
2022, I hope to fight at least 3 times. I would love to fight 4, but at least 3 times.
All right, and we already know what your plans are, what your thoughts are. That's where my next question comes into play. How much closer do you feel about fighting for a world title at 122 at this point?
I'm right there. My next fight should be that. I'm expecting to fight Fulton. I'm hoping we can make that happen, but I'm right there. So if it's not this next fight, it's gonna be the next fight. But sometime in 2022. I will win my first world title.
Will you go to the WBO and do it? Was it Sean or was it Bud who did it? Will you go to the WBO and demand that this man fights you?
Right. Hey, you know what? Hey, we might have to make something happen for real.
Right. Well, I would think that this could be the biggest fight in this division in like the last decade, to be honest with you, because 122 is like a hotbed of talent. And I say this because I want to ask you, what were your thoughts on the Fulton Figueroa fight, and who did you have winning the fight as well too?
Well, I kind of wanted Fulton to win, because like had I won my fight, I'd expect us to fight. But I feel like Figueroa won that fight. Honestly, I feel like Figueroa was pushing him corner to corner. Pretty much hitting them 3-2. Figueroa hits him 3 times. Fulton might hit him once, might hit him twice. A little bit sloppy, but I think Figueroa won that fight. Honestly,
I do. I don't like to play sides or anything like that, but I will agree with you because I thought it was an absolute travesty. I thought at worst it could be a draw, but You know what? As everybody says, you're not dissatisfied with the decision because you do see what the judges were seeing in the fight to give Fulton the fight. But I felt like the way that both of those warriors went about that fight, it should have been a draw, because usually
I would have been happy with a draw
that were one-sided. You know what I mean?
I mean, as a spectator, a fan of the sport and a fellow boxer, I mean, like to be in that moment, I'd hate to have a draw, but being a fan, it's like I would have felt a lot more comfortable with the draw.
Yeah, and and then it was just so disappointing to see the reaction with Brandon and everything like that. But it was a good question that he asked. Do you feel you won the fight? And we didn't answer that one, so that was pretty good. All right, so now he's on your hit list, and we talked over in Carson as well too, and you had some kind words for him that day as well too. So do you feel, is there any weakness that you can exploit against Fulton that you've been seeing in his last few fights?
Well, when he fought Leo, I was surprised at his game plan, because I just pictured he would just straight up box. He holds a lot, he, like, even with Figueroa, he was holding for his life throughout the fight. But he's a solid fighter, he is the champ. Man, it's hard to say off the top of my head. There's some things I'd want to take away from him. I'd want to take away his jab for sure, and then I'd want to take away his legs. Those are probably the 2 things without digging too deep. I know off the top that's something I'd want to do.
Right, because I know you don't want to give me the full plan because you know you guys are still negotiating the fight and everything. But I always want to ask boxers this: is they're going into trying to get the big dog of the division? Do they see any weaknesses in that fighter? And you gave me a great answer for that. Pretty much, you already seeing a game plan in place where you got to take away the jab and work the body a little bit. And I kind of saw that as well too. Also, pretty much, do you feel the super bantamweight division is one of the toughest in boxing, and why?
Oh man, I definitely think it's one of the toughest, if not the toughest. Just the talent, the talent. The Warriors throwing punches and bunches, people showing up to fight. It's definitely one of the most exciting divisions now compared to years past. It used to be like 47 and whatnot, but it kind of like switched over to 22-pound division.
All right. So, because, everybody talks about 147 and everybody talks about 135 and 130, but every time I see the big fights on Showtime that excite me, it's in this division. Like, seriously, like, it's always action packed. It's always a big moment for somebody trying to move forward in the division as well too. It's not just like a tune-up or we're trying to get this guy some fights so he can look good on TV. No, we got actual wars, and I think the matchmaking in the division is by far the best in boxing, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah. I think a big part of that's Al Heyman. Shout out to him. But yeah, just great fights. Champions fighting champions, exactly how it should be. The best fighting the best, and putting on great performances for the fans.
All right. So I like what I hear. So let's go ahead and get into some events that are happening in the next few weeks and everything like that. We know we got a big Showtime card in Atlantic City. What are your thoughts on Russell Magsayo Showdown, and how do you see it playing out?
With who?
With Mark Magsayo. That's who's challenging him for the WBC 126 belt. Big matchup at Borgata over in AC.
Right. I'm just gonna rock with the underdog. I'm rocking with the underdog.
Okay, so you're picking Magnifico. Why is it that you want to pick Magnifico? Now you do know that he was in that fight with Julio Ceja on the Pacquiao pay-per-view card, the final Pacquiao fight. That was the guy that got the lights out, the highlight reel knockout, the clutch Rocky situation where he's down on every single card and he delivered one of the biggest knockouts of the year.
Yeah,
that's who I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, Mark, right?
Yeah, Mark Magnifico Magsayo. So
yeah. We used to train at the same gym over at Bones Adams gym.
Okay. Because I know right now he's training for this fight over at Wildcard, so that's pretty good. And and if you go to Bones's gym, you better be a dog.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I'm not going to say any names, but I've seen former champs get popped up by guys who are like 8-4. So. Like, you better be a dog when you come up in the Bones gym. That's for all the boxers watching this right now, asking me, what gym should I go to in Vegas? You should go to the gym. Make sure that you go to the gym that you can kind of look real good in, so then somebody can take you to the good gym. Because if you go in a good gym, if you ain't looking good, then the guy bringing you in there might not ever be able to come back in there.
Right. Type shit, Hey, right, for real.
Right. So, you like the underdog, and do you feel that the constant layoffs of Gary Russell could factor into the upset happening in this fight?
I mean, not really, only because Gary's used to that. He's used to fighting like once a year and whatnot. I wanted to pull for the underdog because, like, I'm cool with Mark. We used to train the same gym, but if I'm gonna give you a real answer, honestly, I mean, yeah, I think Russell beats him. Hopefully it's a good fight, but I think Russell has too much experience, too much speed. He's a hard hitter. Mark can hit hard too, but like in that fight that he won, he doesn't knock the dude out, he loses. I was at that fight. It was a good fight, but he was getting tore up to the body and everything. So, like, truthfully, Russell probably wins, but I always pull for the underdog.
Right. And I was at that fight too. I was up top in the press box, and I thought the same thing. I said, man, he's having a tough time with Seha tonight, even though he had knocked him out earlier in the fight. But he persevered and he showed the heart of a champion. So he deserves exactly everything that's coming to him if he's able to pull off the big upset. Now, let's go ahead and move forward to February 5th. And let's go ahead and first get into the co-main event. We have the return of Leo Santa Cruz, the WBA 126 champion, and he's going against Carbajal over here as the co-main event over at the Michelob Light Ultra Arena. I guess that what they call it. We just used to call it the Mandalay Bay Event Center. So pretty much it's going to be at Mandalay Bay. What are your thoughts on this fight? And do you see LLC having an impressive performance coming back after that ferocious knockout that occurred in San Antonio against Tank?
Yeah. Should be a good fight. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing Santa Cruz go out there, you know, coming back from his knockout and whatnot. But it should be a good fight. I don't really know what to expect. You know, how will Santa Cruz bounce back? You know, will he be a little gun shy, or, you know, I don't know. It should be a good fight though.
Would you think that since he's back at 126, he'll be a little bit more comfortable in that weight range and everything like that? It seems like he's very dominant at the 126 level. And you know, he came in there, he showed some really good skills against Tank. It just wasn't enough at the end of the day. You know what I mean? To go ahead and get the actual win. I really felt that he had to kind of change his style a little bit in that fight and kind of hit, not get hit, you know, things like that. Because I think if he would have went with that motive throughout the night, I think he could have possibly stole that fight as well too. But it's in his nature. He's gonna bang. That's what they do. Oh, yeah. So pretty much, you know, they can't even go back to the neighborhood if they don't bang. You know what I mean? They can't do it like we do. You know what I mean? So you know, so it is what it is. Now, the main event is Keith Thurman still an elite fighter with the long layoff, and what is your prediction with this fight with Mario Barrios?
You know, I used to be a Thurman fan. You know, I used to be a fan of his, and then, you know, he kind of just had the layoff, got married, and disappeared. But man, that should be a good fight. Barrios, he should have beat Tank. You know, if he doesn't get knocked out, shit. But that's gonna be tough. I wouldn't be surprised if Barrios pulls it off, though. You know, if Thurman comes back and loses that fight, shit, he might as well just retire.
Well, you know, what I'm seeing is, and I'm trying not to be biased about the situation or anything like that. I'm not picking sides or anything, but in the years of me watching boxing, which has been a long time, I'm not old, but I've been watching it for a fairly long amount of time. And every time I've ever seen somebody be in the booth for a while and then come back into the ring, it never works out very well for him. Now, you can't say Foreman because Foreman wasn't in a booth when he came back. Foreman was at a church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's different. You know what I mean? And so when he would go in there and go do those fights with Larry and Jim Lampley, he was an active fighter. He still was fighting like every 4 to 6 months. It wasn't like he was, you know, picking and choosing when he fought, or I have a shoulder injury and all this good stuff. And I think that might be the biggest reason why he might not ever come back to being an elite fighter, because the injury that occurred in the process. And just Mario Barrios in that length, we both know that his best days were never going to be at 140. His best days will be either 147, 154, 160, all that good stuff, because his height calls for that. So right. I think with the reach and the power, honestly, this could be lights out before we get to the 8th round.
Yeah, it should be a really good fight. I mean,
right.
We'll say, well, I want to, because I don't think Barrios has real good footwork. He's like slower feet. Thurman used to have fast feet, you know, so we'll see. You know, if he can't move his legs, it might be exactly what you said. Lights out by 8.
Right. Because the thing is, when you're well paid, you got a pretty wife, all that good stuff. What is the point of boxing? You've achieved everything that you had to, that you wanted to achieve in this business. And that's how it goes in all sports, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Once you get to the level and then you take a long time off and then you try to come back and get that thing back, if you're not Floyd, it's going to be tough. You know what I mean? Because Floyd came back and it was like he didn't miss a day in the gym, because he really didn't. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh yeah, he stayed working.
Right, because these other guys have missed days in the gym. That's the difference. So
right.
That's why, they want to do tune-ups and all this other stuff. And when they start talking tune-ups and things like that, that's when you start to kind of question things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because, when you're an elite fighter, you don't have the time to keep fighting guys who are 34-10 lifetime, and they're a good journeyman and all that stuff. You gotta fight guys that put butts in the seats. And I think that when you start saying, let me get the tune up, that's kind of the language saying, hey, I want to, make sure that I can get back into shape so I can even be at an elite level. You feel what I'm saying? Yes.
Oh, hey, I feel you. I think Errol Spence was talking about that too, I think.
Right. But Errol,
from
what I'm hearing is that's that situation. I didn't bring the question up because the fight hasn't been set, but they're very close to confirming that fight with him and Ugas. But I don't want to say anything until the deal is actually done, because I think you were even in a situation where they had you about to fight for the championship, and then whatever happened, and then next thing you know, they got Fulton and Figueroa going at her, Leo, and it's just, but it's all good, because sometimes when you have to wait your turn, it's gonna be that much sweeter of a moment when that moment does arrive.
Right. Oh yeah, and shit, my moment's coming. It's here.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and play a little game real quick. Just it's one of my last questions for you. What are your thoughts on Shakur Stevenson? Because he says that he's the best in the world. And would you move up to face him if the opportunity was presented? Because he's not that far away from you.
Right. No, he's what, 130?
Yes.
Or did he move up to 30? Okay, so 130. Yeah, no, he's right there. Like, I even said it before. It's like if I could move up and weight, I wouldn't mind skipping 26 and just jumping up to 30.
Right.
I'd love that fight. It's all about opportunities. Like I want to fight the best. What have you done in the sport? It's like I don't just want to win. It matters who you beat. So fighting a fighter like Shakur Stevenson and being able to beat a fighter like that would be amazing, because I think he's a phenomenal athlete. Boxer, technical, fast hands, fast feet, extremely smart. I mean, he's not the most exciting fighter to watch, but he's very technical. Yeah, he's a great fighter.
So let's just cut the BS. Do you feel like you could beat him and like beat him, like meaning like,
hey,
I can go ahead and put you out?
I mean, look, if it comes down to a straight up fight, I gotta get it. I gotta win. Period. It's like, look, I got 12 rounds to knock you out. That's how I'm looking at it. I don't care if I'm up on all the scorecards in the 12. I'm still trying to knock you out.
I got you. And I'm just over here stirring the pot just a little bit. But, nobody ever talks about Shakur as much on that. They do talk about him, but they kind of skip past him because they're always so talking about what they felt were the with the fan. I called them the Fab Four. People were calling them the Four Kings. I thought we were getting a little extra when we said Four Kings, but because they hadn't really done anything yet. But as you can see now, that little Beatles version of the lightweights are starting to kind of pass through a little bit now, and now it's starting to become Shakur time. That's why I'm bringing him up, because I think that he'll be able to be on the mountain by himself, and I know that you're the type of fighter that will give him a great fight. I just know that because you guys kind of match up the same way. And you know what? He went to the Olympics, but this is one thing that you guys got to know about the Beast. The Beast is a champion in a whole different form of martial arts, and literally the all-around version of fighting and combating. This guy was a champion in that sport as well too. So I feel like you can bring your skills from that part of your life and bring it to the boxing ring, because it shows up in your fights all the time, because you take fights to people. You don't sit back and hit and don't. No, you go out there. I'm gonna tear your body up. I'm gonna catch you with this. I'm gonna catch you with this nice overhand. All these things, and you made guys that they felt were gonna beat you look really bad. You know what I mean? So that's why I say I think you really are, and I'm not trying to butter you up or anything like that, but I'm going to say it now. You the boogeyman at 122, because if they really wanted to fight you already, they would have already done so. But Now you have it to where they have to fight you, and I love it.
Oh yeah, no, big facts. You know, they don't want to fight me, but like I said, I'm here and I'm coming, and I want the best of the best, and I'm here. I'm coming for everybody. So shit, can't wait for this year to really get started. I don't know when I'll be in the ring this year, but I'm hoping it's gonna be sooner than later.
I think I got him juiced up, y'all. I think I got him ready to roll. If they tell Beast he has to fight tomorrow, I think he'll be ready at 7:30.
Hey, you already know. You already know.
All right, man. My last question. What fight in 2022, as a fan of the sport, do you want to see? The fight that you want to see? Anybody?
I mean, I want Canelo to quit tripping and fight Benavidez. That's the fight that needs to happen.
Okay. And
I mean,
is there any,
what's that?
I said, is there any other fight that you like?
Man, I'd want to see Tank down to 35, or is he staying at 40?
Tank, I think it's always about how the check works in his situation. So if the money's right at 130, he'll fight the fight at 130. If the money's right at 140, he'll fight the fight at 140. And if the dream matchup comes up to where they have the right type of money, he'll fight him at 135 as well too. But I don't know exactly where his next plans are going to be at.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I want to see Tank against against a big name. You know, like I'm a Tank fan. I like his style, bang, southpaw. You know, so I'd like to see him in. I don't know if I'd like to fight with him and Lomachenko, two southpaws. But to beat a Lomachenko, would be great for him. So I don't know. I'd say Tank against somebody, just a big name.
All right, and real quick, since you want to see Canelo and Benavidez, who do you favor in that fight? Who do you think can win that fight? I know a lot of people feel Benavidez can be right there in the midst of things with Canelo, but Canelo's a different animal. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, man, I would want. I'm a Canelo fan, but I think I would want Benavidez to win that fight. The only thing I'd be scared of is the strength of Canelo's strength. You know, it's Benavidez fast hands, but kind of slow feet. He's right there to be hit, and you can't bang with Canelo for 12 rounds. I think that'd be a great fight. That's a fight that needs to be made. Like shit.
All right, and I think that they'll eventually get to that point. I just see they got to make the dollars make sense. We all know that in the boxing world, David Benavidez is a big name, and we love watching him fight and everything like that. But in my business, what I do for boxers in the branding world, you walk into these boardrooms and present people like they're gonna say, "Who is that?" And you got to be. Canelo has already made his stance with the American mainstream crowd, and I think that David has to do a little bit more so they can really sell this fight, because they want to make this a huge production for both fighters as well too, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense what you're saying. That makes sense. I mean, the boxing community knows who Benavidez is. He's a superstar, but kind of like what you said, it's just not mainstream quite yet.
Right, but that doesn't mean that it's not coming soon. You know what I mean? It's just that we need to do a little bit more on that other end to get him a little bit more eyes on the a little bit more eyes. Popping up a little bit more at the Suns game, the Cardinals game, stuff like that. Maybe Diamondbacks game. That type of stuff. And before we leave, man, you guys know my man's from Michigan, so he's suffering right now. What was worse? The Tigers? What was worse? The Tigers, the Lions, or the Pistons right now?
Oh, my God.
The worst part? Who's the worst team out of those three to you?
Man, I love football, but it's like being from Michigan is like I cannot be a Lions fan. It's like if you've never seen anything crazy, just watch a Lions game. You'll see some crazy ass shit. Like I don't know. The Pistons are horrible right now. It's bad. It's bad right now. But I have to run back. I just have to say the Lions. The Lions just have it the worst, because the Pistons might turn it around a little bit and do halfway decent, break 500. you know, same with hockey and whatnot. But the Lions is just a lost cause. So the
Man,
struggle is real.
I'm telling you, man, the Pistons and the Red Wings kept you guys spoiled for so long. So I know the feeling, and the Tigers always come around every 5 years or
Yeah.
so. But football is king in Detroit. They even moved to downtown Detroit. They still can't get this thing together. So I'm like, so it's all good. But if you were better, you know what I mean? If you were betting them at all, I'm not saying that you're better, but I'm just giving out this information. They were pretty good the last 6 weeks of the season against the spread. Now they ain't covered the last few games, but they did pretty good. And right after they were trying to win games, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they were like what, like 0-5, and then they had a tie, and then I thought they were
Yeah.
gonna go 0-17. It's like fuck, but they ended up winning 2, so that was cool. But fucking Lions.
All right, man. So it is what it is at the end of the day, and I know you're still not feeling too good about what happened to your Wolverines either. If you're a Michigan guy, because you know in Michigan,
I'm a Michigan fan. I'm not a State fan.
Okay. Because you know Michigan, it's either green or white or blue and or navy and gold. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's one or the other. It's not. It can't be both ways. All
Right.
right. So, man, it's always a pleasure speaking to you, champ. You the absolute best. I can't wait to be at your next fight because I will be there for you and support and everything like that. So, man, you're the absolute best. Is there any shots out that you want to send before we go ahead and wrap this thing up?
Man, just you know, hey, follow me in my career. You can find me on Instagram at Aleem Boxing. I'm excited for 2022. Got to make it happen.
All right, man. So you guys make sure you guys check out The Beast, Aleem, and make sure you guys catch the first episode of the year of The Sweet Science presented by Fanatics View. I'm your host, Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I'm signing out with The Beast, Aleem, and we are out of here.